So, Side Splitters.
Side splitting.
Yeah, dude. Side Splitters. That's a cool club. That's honestly, based on what I see and hear from a lot of like big headlining comedians. It's
Yeah.
probably the best club in the state, according to a lot of people.
I believe it. I can believe it after doing.
I've never done it. I've seen, but I've also seen the acts that they pull through there, and
incredible.
They pull comedians that
and
know
have been for a long time. They have like all these posters up, and it'll be like, Ray Romano first appeared 2001, or has their first appearance dates.
Yeah,
which is very cool. So it feels very like, kind of like the how the Comedy Store felt. You're like all these people that passed through here. So this kind of felt like a Florida version of.
And you did a full run with Zoltan?
Yeah, Zoltan Casas, who look him up. Everyone probably knows him.
He's super fun.
If you've gotten this far to our podcast, comedy, you already know
he's been mentioned a couple times.
But yeah, he's a great dude, and he let me do guest sets all weekend. So I did 5 shows.
Yeah,
and it went really well. It was a fun crowd. Tampa's really fun.
Yeah,
it's like a fun city. It's more busy.
Yeah,
than Jacksonville. It's a little more built up. It kind of like. It reminds me of like a Florida version of San Diego.
Yeah.
A bit, like with the bay and then the beaches and stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
But instead of like Mexican influences, Cuban influence. So
okay.
Which is cool, which is awesome. Like I ate Cuban sandwiches.
Yeah.
And drove around like
you see the chickens? You see the chickens?
Yeah, I saw chickens.
Yeah,
I went to Ybor.
Ybor City, dude.
Yeah, I went to Ybor City and I got a Cuban.
Yeah.
I went to like all over St. Pete, downtown St. Pete Beach, and then like all the beaches.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it was a good place.
Also, one of the things I do like about I've never done it. I've never performed there yet. But one thing I do like about Side Splitters is they actively try to build up the scene.
Yes.
They like to build up a pool of comics and reward comics that do the mics and do the there and everything like that. Not every club does that. I mean, I know locally. More recently, it's opened up, but for years, the local club in Jacksonville was very closed off to the local scene. If you didn't do their workshop,
right? Yeah, you know,
whatever,
like a $200 workshop.
Yeah, but they acted like they got a laundry list of comics they've helped. They rewarded by giving them stage time, and then once they started getting steam behind them, they got behind them as well with the basically put them on spots, got them and now it's like a who's who of like comics that have done well and moved on from Side Splitters. So that's cool, man. That's awesome.
And so I'll mention Frankie Paul was the feature. He's a Florida comic. He said he's been doing comedy 38 years in Florida, so which is amazing. And he was such a cool dude. He like had like he had this like zen coolness about him. Like he reminded me of who's that dude who died jerking off? That's not
David Carradine?
David Carradine. He had like a David Carradine like coolness about him.
Oh, okay.
He
doesn't sound like him or look like him per se, but
no.
Okay.
But he had like a cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's chill.
There's probably also, a cooler, more recent reference for.
Also, he's one of those comedians. If you say that you're a working comedian in Florida, and you don't know who Frankie Paul is, you're not a fucking working comedian.
Yeah. I believe that.
You're not. You haven't traveled enough. You haven't.
He's so so funny. It was so great. Everyone was loving him.
Yeah.
And he fishes. He likes to fish, which is cool.
Yeah.
We're talking fishing. And then the host was Steve Sargent. And he was really funny. Zoltan said he has Joaquin Phoenix Joker energy, which was really hilarious. But he said that on stage. But it was a great. Yeah, everyone was like so nice, and
you had a bunch of friends. You had some friends, right?
I had old college friends in town.
Yeah,
which is.
When was the last time they saw you perform?
Oh, probably 8 to 10 years ago.
God damn it, that's the best. Is when someone who hasn't seen you in a while and
you
fucking murder. It is like
and it was so funny because then they start getting honest. They're like, when I saw you, you were terrible. Like originally, and I used to tell people I have a friend who does stand-up comedy, but he's no good. Like he's not good at all. And I was like, you just told people the whole time, like up until this weekend, you told people that? I was like, okay. And he was like, but he was like, you got to stick with it. You're doing great. You're like, And there was like all these nice compliments, and it was one of my best friends.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, thank you so much. But it's also like, it's like if you lose weight and people are like, you were so fat and disgusting and
You were fucking
sweaty and gross, and I hated you.
You would leave grease stains on
And
my
you're
couch.
like, oh, come on, I was trying. I just didn't, I wasn't there.
I was really sad.
Still trying. So funny. Yeah, so you're like, because like everyone's bad in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But I was like, but I got better, and I was like decent.
Yeah,
I was decent to good when I was in San Diego. I was like doing shit in San Diego.
yeah.
I was like, you just weren't around or ever saw me then. But it was funny to be like them be like,
God, that's so funny.
I've
had the same.
You're shitty
I've had those same
anymore.
type of backhanded compliments like now where they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, that was fantastic, man!
Yeah.
You come a long way." And
Yeah.
they emphasize how long.
They're
I've
like,
come.
you're like an actual comedian.
Yeah,
And
you're
like,
someone
"Oh."
I would
thanks.
not mind telling other people about. You know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I know it's funny. It's funny, but you're like I'm like, I don't care. Like anybody can say anything, and I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
it's fine. But yeah, I thought that was really funny.
That's fucking great.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine that. That was the only time because after the first show and I got like one set out, I was like, all right, I felt very comfortable because I kind of like felt the stage out and everything.
Yeah.
And then it was like last show Saturday, so it was last show of the weekend. And he was like, I'm cutting your spot. All right, fine, you can do it. But like, and I was like, oh my God, there's pressure from that end. And then pressure, like old friends here to see me. And I just imagined, I was out there like watching Steve host and do his time. And
Yeah.
I was in the back corner, just imagining myself bombing terribly. And then having to like spend a whole weekend with my old friends and be like,
not making eye
I
contact.
spent a good portion of my life dedicated to this horse shit that you just watched. This awful.
It's like telling people you do porn and then they watch a video and your
Yeah,
whole time
you
you're
just-
having trouble getting
You have a
hard.
small dick and you come fast.
It's small and uncircumcised.
Yeah, and you're just like whiny and like. Like the
My
least
leg
sexy.
hurts. Fuck.
I have a cramp. That'd be the best porn voice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like kind of Family Guy.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna come.
Oh, I love this. But yeah, so that was good, and we had a good time.
Hell
We played a prank on my friend,
Oh shit. Okay.
which
Now I'm worried because I've heard of some of your pranks and stuff that your friends have played in the past. So I'm a
yeah,
little-
I know I love a prank.
Yeah.
I really do love a prank. But anyway, yeah, I pranked my friend. I pretended to be their Uber driver. Like we planned it all out.
Oh, you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
Did you executed it perfectly?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's
Oh,
awesome.
Dude,
So
it was
what was your disguise?
I have a picture. So we did it, and I picked them up, and they were like, So first of all, like the voice that came out,
Oh my God.
the voice that came out, I couldn't decide on a voice to do, and
You look like a more lesbian JoJo Siwa.
yeah,
right?
yeah. I do look like kind of like a lesbian.
Yeah, you kinda-
Well, it's a woman's wig. Like it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a men's
I've
wig.
met
It said
so
unisex,
many.
but
I met
it's, like,
so many
definitely
women
looks
that
like
have
a
looked
woman.
like this.
Yeah,
At bars.
that would be lesbian me. Not bad. I think I'd clean up at like a happy hour or something.
Give it up
but,
for Dawn Venti.
Dawn Venti. I should do a set real angry and humorless. I'll wear flannel.
What do you mean,
Uh,
Caitlin Clark can only make $80,000 a year? You know.
I say that, but then Anna Lepoli is so funny. She's she single-handedly flipped the whole thing around.
Yeah.
No, Jessica Kirshon. So yeah, she's the king.
That's
She's the king of
She's the
lesbian
second.
comedy.
This is the second time this week Jessica Kershaw has come up in
Oh,
conversation
I just
about her
lo-
being a monster on stage. you
I
know?
just love
Yeah.
her so much.
Yeah. She's
She's
good.
just so funny. Oh God, her crowd work special is phenomenal. Look it up.
Yeah.
So anyway, I put this shit on. I'm at a coffee shop. I drink like 4 cups of coffee, and I put this wig on, and I go, and I didn't have a voice planned.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be like Florida Swamp Man but my backstory was going to be that I moved from the West Coast to here, some West Coast city, moved to Tampa.
Okay.
Because my buddy who we were playing a prank on is very conservative.
Okay.
And he does not like the liberal talking points and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hit as many of these as I could. So the thing with the voice, I didn't have a voice picked out. So when they got in the car, like a voice came out of me, and I had to just stick with it because you can't like just keep changing voice. That would be weird.
Yeah.
So the voice that came out of me sounded like, I was like, "Hey y'all, welcome to Tampa." I was like, "Welcome to Tampa. We got a downtown," it was this weird, strange, Louisiana Cajun, effeminate, sort of like I don't even know what. It didn't make sense for anything that I was saying, and it sounded really off. And so I just went and I was like, I moved here from Portland, Oregon, and I'm hoping that Tampa gets to be a little bit more like Portland, because Portland people are much more open-minded. And then they're like, "Why'd you move from Portland?" And I was like, "My house is being broken into constantly." And so I would just go and hit all these things, and he wasn't getting mad at all. There would just be these incredibly deep, awkward silence, and I was just laughing so hard. But also, like, I was trying to drive to a place because I mapped it. Like, they gave me directions, which was all pre-planned. Like, everything was planned out.
That's so funny.
But I don't know Tampa, so I'm missing exits and shit, and I'm trying to do the voice, and I'm trying to improvise, and
sorry, I'm new in town.
yeah, I was just like going on, and I told him like people who like guns all have small jammies is what I said. And I go, but that's an old term, and it's just dead silent. Like, I mean, haunting silence. And I got him like the whole ride. I got him all the way to the place. I dropped them off. He didn't know. So I went around the block and I parked, and then I walked back up to La Segunda. It's like a popular 110-year-old bakery there in Tampa. So I walked back up in the disguise, and he's watching me out the window, and he said he recognized my walk, which is duck-footed and not stable. And then he came out, and he was like, "You motherfucker!" And
What
it was
you
cool.
talking about? I'm just new in town.
So yeah. So it was pretty funny. And then my other buddy like showed up like 20 minutes later.
Fuck, dude.
So it was funny. It was it was like just like a wacky way to get it, instead of just being like showing up and be like, "Hey, we're here too."
Yeah.
It was just like a fun.
Oh, that's funny.
A fun sort of.
Yeah, that's a good fun one. I'm not a big. It's okay. I let me correct myself.
I know you've told me in the past you don't like pranks.
No. I'm not against pranks. I don't like pranks where they like destroy your car.
Oh well, no, fuck that.
No. But but at the same time, I love watching Jackass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or some parts
they,
of it
destroy themselves.
Yeah, but I think it's because I know that they're all kind of inside.
And they're in on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just I don't like when they're like when they'll do a prank. Like I've seen it do some TikTok videos.
Yeah,
it's like where they'll just a girlfriend would destroy the guy's PS5 or something. Like that's not a fucking prank. That's
or
just
like
property damage.
They'll be like, "I'm cheating." I just read a Reddit thing.
Yeah,
and I think most of these things are fake. But suppose this was real. I mean, this is really. I can't even imagine what I would do, or like what So, a wife said that they were on a cruise and the husband liked to play pranks, and that he said to her, "I have to confess something. I had an affair," and she said she freaked out and took her ring and threw it over the balcony into the water. And then he was like, I was kidding. Now, like, what, could you imagine that happening? Like,
yeah.
I would be like, I don't know what to do. Like, cause that's something stupid that I would never say that, because that's insane. That's an insane thing to say, especially if you're married. But if you pranked someone and then they threw a wedding ring out or like broke something really like imagine they like messed your car up or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, wow,
That's
it's nuts to have like dire consequence. Or I guess it would be like if someone pranked someone else and they murdered them or something.
yeah.
You know,
That feels like some court gesture shit.
right?
Because like in comedy, they always talk about like cancel culture. I'm like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
All these guys that
Time out culture.
huh?
It's like time out culture.
Essentially, that's pretty much what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, Cosby's out of jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True cancel culture
Could
was
probably
like,
sell out an arena tomorrow if he wanted.
yeah. If he decided to go back on tour, there would be so much. It would drum up so much
Yeah.
interest. True cancel culture was court gestures, where you're like, "I'm going to entertain the king," and it's like, "I don't like you," and then they're like, "Off with his head." He's like, "Yeah." I kind of went.
a little bell hat.
Yeah, fucking dude. Could you imagine if they had that at open mics? If you
Oh.
weren't funny, you got executed.
Oh my god, that is
Lists would
that
clear
is
up so quickly.
beautiful. Open mic executions.
The comedy mothership. The comedy mothership
Just
would
a
be
big
like
trap door.
it'd be like the French Revolution.
Mr. Burns' office, a big trap door.
Yes. Excellent.
My friends and I, when we were coming up when we were a couple of years in, we started doing what was called open mic betting,
Yeah.
and we would because you get to know comics in the scene and then like their crutches or like go-to thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So we would see the list.
Yeah.
And then we'd start placing bets like you would in a sports game, but like fun bets. So like this comic will say fuck more than 9 times in their 5-minute set, you know, or like whatever it was. And we come up with creative bets. And
What do I want to talk about? Oh, nah, I just won $15 on
yeah,
his
what else? Like come out. It will be whatever it is, or like same joke, like someone telling the same joke. So you'd like pick it out. And there's a good picture of me and 2 of my other friends, and we all have fanning out ones, and we have a notebook, and we're like writing out like we're like a bookie.
Yeah.
Like keeping, and it was open mic betting. I love that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
What was the best prank anyone's ever done to you?
The best prank anyone's done.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so funny. I've been quote unquote pranked by people, but I wouldn't say they were good. The closest, I would say the best prank I've ever had done upon me was pretty recently. You were part of it, actually. Was the surprise birthday party that my brother and a friend of mine, Tucker, threw for me. Because everything that went into it, I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I was so fucking shocked. I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
You know.
It was so cool because you could see that your brain didn't register it all the way for like you were walking, but your face was like just bewilderment, you know, like, and so it was so awesome. And I was sitting there with Kelly, but like everyone, there were so many people there,
Yeah.
and we were all hanging out and like having a good time already. So it was so awesome to see.
Yeah, people I don't think people would classify that as a prank per se, but honestly, it was because
Yeah.
I was told and looking back, the backstory of how my brother conned me into that bar was so fucking ridiculous. He was like, "Hey, bro, I want a gift card to this bar that I never go to, that you go to all the time. You want to come with me?" And me and my brother are not huge drinkers.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, my brother wants to randomly hang out with me. Like, part of me was like, what's going on? Is everything okay? And so, but I'm like, you know, I didn't even think about my birthday because it was a couple days before my actual birthday, I think.
Yeah.
And so I just wasn't registering. And then when I walked in, and then I saw. It was like one by one. I just saw everyone. I didn't see you guys collectively. I saw individually. You guys were just all piecing together.
Yeah.
It's like a weird jigsaw
Which
puzzle.
is weird because a lot of comedy people are affiliated with Rain Dog, so it's like that kind of like probably was weird too because it's like a place you're used to walking into.
Yeah,
And faces you're used to seeing.
but not at that time.
But at a different time.
and not at that day.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, dude. You guys got me fucking good. I
was
can't even
fun.
try to lie and be like, oh, I knew. No, I was.
That was great.
There's video and pictures, proof of that.
Yeah. I thought of one.
Yeah.
And this was in high school. So my buddy, one of my best friends, in high school and still. We were like had English class together on the third floor of our building, and across the way, like outside of whatever area, was like a trailer, like a construction site trailer.
Yeah.
And you've seen those; they're just temporary things.
Yeah.
So he was like, we should mess that thing up. So like over the weekend, a bunch of people went and they like broke the windows of it.
Yeah.
And then Monday we're in class and the windows are repaired and then there's bars over them. And so the next weekend they go and they like slash the tires of the trailer.
Yeah.
And the next Monday comes and they like just did something. They fixed it. It was just like, they're like, no worries, you know? They just fixed it.
Yeah.
So my buddy was like, he nicknamed it Death Box, and he said we gotta destroy that thing. So he got a group of people, and who are allegedly went there, and I may have not been there. And they,
I think the statute of limitations is long past.
So we went to this thing on a Saturday night, and we had been doing it like week after week. And I wasn't there every week, but every single weekend someone would vandalize this thing. So that weekend, like, cops were ready, but they didn't know when we were going to go. So eventually we went, and we had, like, one of those old school video cameras. And it was, like, 9 football players. So we're all strong, but we're, like, going, and we're like, all right, we're going to, on the count of 3, lift this thing up and tip it over, like, horizontally.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was a full trailer. It was like a, you know. And so we go, and we lift it up, and it's very, very, very heavy. And we get it like halfway up, and we can't lift it. And we we drop it, and it makes the like, it dropped on like whatever the cinder blocks or whatever blocks that it was on.
Yeah.
And it made the loudest bang I've like ever heard. And we just scattered. And I mean like, it was like bang, and within like 3 seconds you see cop car lights, but up the block.
Yeah.
And so we scatter in different directions, and this is like a Long Island suburb, so it was dense. Yeah. There was like areas that you could just disappear pretty quick.
Yeah.
So we all disappeared. Cops came. There's no one there. They hang out for a few minutes and they leave. And we wait like an hour, just walking around the town, and we reconvene in the junkyard where we were, right near.
Yeah.
We go back, and same thing. We lift it up. And we get it halfway up, and then we get under it, like, you know, get our hands under it, and we get it going up, up,
back
up.
to it?
Yeah, we went back to it.
That's so ballsy,
I
dude.
was so stupid. We got it up, and it tips, and it goes, and it got, like, to the point where it was going with its own weight, you know? So it was so heavy, and then all of a sudden it was nothing.
Yeah.
And then that made, whatever the loud thing before, it was, like, 20 times as loud. And it was just... It was the sound of a full-size trailer being tipped over, allegedly. And even faster cop lights.
Oh, my God.
And we scatter, and I don't know what it was chaos, because me, my buddy, and one other guy run into like this pond area, and we just ran up a trail. About like a quarter mile, half mile, and then we just started walking, and then we're
This is
like,
in Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be funny if you guys ran into the trail and come across some Bambinos getting rid of a body.
Yeah, right. Hey, first things first. Who the fuck are you?
It starts out shenanigans. Now it's like it turns into Judgment Night.
Yeah,
you know?
it turns like the bad Scorsese ripoff.
Yeah.
Who's flipping over our trailer? Oh. But anyway, so we did that. It was crazy.
Fuck.
That Monday comes, and the thing is not there on Monday, and we're all hanging out, and everyone's like laughing and giddy about it.
Uh-huh.
And our friend, this girl, her mom was a cop, and it was like everyone knew her mom was a cop, and she was like, came up to my buddy, whose original idea it was, and said, "Hey, listen, that trailer that you guys flipped over, there was a security camera in the parking lot, and they got like really crystal clear footage of all of you, and you're all gonna get arrested, like probably today." And he told me and everyone else, and we were all like, fuck. And this was like second period, first period, second period, right
Yeah.
at the beginning of the day. So the whole day, we're just like, we're gonna get arrested. We're gonna get arrested. And then it was like 8th or 9th period. I had a class with her, and I didn't know if she knew that I was allegedly maybe or maybe not there. And so I said to her, out of like desperation, I go, man, I can't believe Adam believed you when you told him they had a security camera there. And she goes, I know, right? He's freaking out. It's so funny. And I go, and I was like mostly relieved. And I was like, there's no camera. I can't believe, they mess that thing up every week. And I go, they should have put a camera. And she was like, they should have. And they go, but don't tell Adam because he's freaking out.
Holy
And
shit.
I was so relieved. And then I, of course, went and told him, everything's cool.
Fuck, dude. I went on a journey with that story.
Yeah.
That's because I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what happened to Adam? What happened to you guys?
Nothing.
Is that why you moved to San Diego?
Yeah, it's witness protection.
You're not Dan
I'm
Vinci.
over here now.
You're not Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Dan, I'm at Starbucks in line.
You're
Venti.
Vito. Yeah. Like, what was it? Family Guy. He was like trying to come up with a fake name.
Yeah.
Peter Griffin. Down. Fucking.
That's so funny.
Dude, it's so funny. You ever do senior pranks like that's like high school? Like that was a big thing here in Florida. Was like senior pranks.
Senior pranks.
And so
I got a quick. I'm not.
Oh yeah, you got one. I was gonna tell you about mine.
No, tell
Okay.
it. Go to
So
yours now.
like this the high school I went to is actually where your wife went to.
Yeah.
Wolfson, and it was such a wide range, a wide net of people.
Yeah.
You had people whose families owned prominent national businesses that went there, and then you had fucking people that probably wore ankle monitors in the same school, and you could tell by the contrast and comparison of the senior pranks that they committed. So one senior prank was to put several chains and locks around the parking lot where the kids park their cars at.
Okay.
So no one can get out, or it's going to be, you just got to get some wire cutters.
Yeah.
And then the other prank was there was a security officer who had a golf cart. They flipped his golf cart and set it on fire.
Oh my God.
So it's like, what the fuck? Like my senior prank.
I love the 90s destruction, and
It was-
and people would be like, "It's a prank."
Yeah, they were.
It was such a fun time.
They were like, it's a prank. I'm like, no, that's Woodstock '99. My
Don't you as being around? I don't know about you. I watched Woodstock '99. I know this assault and stuff is terrible, but the destruction part of it.
Yeah.
I'm always like, yeah, rock,
Rock on.
yeah, and the '90s, that all that stuff, that rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. But go on. So
My senior prank was by contrast, it was like fucking. It was like fucking Baby Shark.
yeah,
I put baby oil and KY jelly in spray bottles, and I sprayed all the locker locks or whatever.
Yeah.
You had to pull it down.
Oh,
I
yeah,
sprayed
yeah.
all of those.
oh,
I sprayed handles, on door handles, and I just watched the people were late to class because they couldn't open their lockers because their hands were covered in baby oil and KY jelly. But that was my senior prank.
That's fun. I got to tell you too, because one's not mine.
Okay.
And then one is not a senior prank. This was a prank we'd pull regularly. And I'll tell you that one first because this was my own thing.
Yeah.
Me and two of my friends would go in my high school. You were allowed to go out to lunch because there was a town. The high school was in the middle of a town.
Yeah.
Like a walkable area. So imagine 5 Points or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine a high school next to a bunch of restaurants and shit.
Yeah.
So we would go to this pizza place. We'd get a large pizza, 3 of us, 8 slices. So we'd each have 2, and then there'd be one extra. One person. We'd each have 2. One person would have a third, and we'd rotate that each time, and then we'd have one final slice of pizza left over.
Uh-huh.
And I think that math works, right? 6, 8, 7, 8.
It's pizza math. It always
Pizza
works
math.
out. Yeah.
I should know this. I work in finance and make pizza. So we'd always have one slice of pizza left over. We take it on a paper plate and we played a game called Pizza Foot. And what Pizza Foot was is you carry a plain slice of cheese or pepperoni pizza, because that's what we'd always get. Cheese was better though.
Yeah.
And you carry it not in a bag. You have to do open air paper plate, and you go up to someone, and preferably, it's great for Florida, you have to find someone preferably in sandals, and you start a conversation with them, and you trip and you drop the pizza onto their feet, like onto their shoes. But onto their foot mostly. And if you have sandals, it's great because the cheese and the grease get in your toes and stuff. So you go, oop, and you go, and we call it Pizza Foot, and so that was fun. But the senior prank that stands out to me, and I still think about it because it's fucking wild. My high school was really well known for skateboarding because the there was like a little park thing outside the gymnasium, and it was a square of stairs, and it was like 4 stairs high, and the way the curbs and everything were set up was perfect. It almost looked like a skate park, but it was just how it was designed, and people came from all over Long Island to skate there, and it had been skated on so long the wax was like, super coated like black onto like all the surfaces. So people skating there every day, all the time.
Yeah.
Well known. So in the middle of the square, stair thing, was this tree, and it had been growing there for like 30 years or whatever it was, and it was like the school tree or whatever. And someone's high school prank, when they cut the tree down.
What the fuck? Just straight up.
They just cut it down and toppled over, and I was like, "That's wild." Imagine just.
I love how the pranks are just like just straight up felonies.
Yeah, just straight up and down. But I remember the next day after that happened, the principal made an announcement, and I mean, he was pissed. He was like really pissed because he was like, this was like a long-standing part of the school and the history, and it's been like all this
tree saw Abraham
I know who did it
Lincoln.
Too, but I mean,
yeah. Abraham Lincoln was around when this tree was first a seedling.
I'm fairly certain the person who did it became a police officer.
Oh my God.
Almost 100%. Anyway, that's how it goes in New York. All the worst.
To catch a predator, you gotta be one.
The worst. It was like there's good people too who are cops, but a lot of like people who are wild and you're like, that guy is a cop now. And you're like, they're like the roughest and worst people. Boy, man, I go on and on. Long Island, I got wild stories.
Jesus Christ, that's it's so funny. Your school was known for like skateboarding. Like I went to a middle school. We had a breakdance hallway.
Oh, for real?
It was a whole because we had a lot of Asian student Filipinos and stuff, and they were really big into breakdance culture. And so we had a whole hallway that led from the school to the football fields.
Yeah, and
it like in the morning, if you go down there, you would hear just like. And it'd just be a little Filipino kid on his head and a beanie just spinning.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to, and it was even funner to watch people that had no skill. It's like watching karaoke.
Yeah.
So you got people that are like, oh, this guy can sing. He's just like showboating.
Just like one, like,
and then there'll be a 250-pound 7th grader trying to fucking just. Like pulling up all the tape off the cardboard that was on the ground that was taped down, just
God, I love the kids who are like so much more advanced because and now you look back and you're like, oh, they had like an insane home life.
Yeah,
like you learn that you know that now.
Yeah,
but back then you're like, wow, this kid's like an adult. I remember I was in 5th grade one time, and this kid who died like when we were like in 7th grade or whatever, but like. Probably, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we're in like 5th grade. I have a distinct memory of this, and I was like still like an innocent little kid, and I was sitting next to him, and we got along because we would joke around, and he called some girl over. We were sitting down at the lockers, like on the floor, and he called some girl over, and he said, "Hey, I have to tell you something." This must have been 6th grade. And she leaned over and she said, "What?" And her shirt fell, like her t-shirt like fell like that.
Yeah.
And he just went, "Free show." And you could see her boobs, but this was when boobs were like first even being invented for girls, you know? They were just starting out, and I was like, I remember sitting there thinking
BC
like
before cleavage.
and I remember thinking like, how did he do that? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, that was like a magic trick. But I was, and then looking back, I was like, oh wow, I was like, that kid was like messed up. I think he died from drugs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That checks out.
It checks.
He's conning middle school girls that had seen their tits and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the same age, but it was just like, you know,
Yeah.
it was like talking to an adult.
Yeah,
They're just like the bad kids.
Yeah.
Bad kids are like pretty
Yeah.
wild.
See, I was probably the guy that secretly wished to see the boobs. I didn't have the wherewithal to figure out a way to see them. Yeah.
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 Not until later, and
Oh yeah.
you have to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah. You got to be good at it.
Yeah, and then it takes years.
Yeah.
It takes years to see boobs from stand-up.
Yeah. I have been trying my hand at stand-up comedy week in and week out just to see the cleavage that your 13-year-old friend or whatever saw.
They did a thing on Family Guy where they had like Jesus. They like go back and like Jesus. I don't know if he comes to modern time or whatever, but instead of like being the savior or whatever he does,
Yeah.
he's like, I want to be a stand-up comic. So it's just like him doing stand-up at like olden times and stuff. It must be from.
Yeah.
It was a recent episode, but I was laughing because he was doing like. He's like, we're not cheap like those, and he's just saying like a town, like a biblical town.
Yeah.
I was like, I do that cheap trick.
Yeah.
So funny,
That's hilarious.
man. Well, you got anything else for the peeps?
No. I think,
So to finish off the episode,
Okay.
I would say this:
Yeah.
if open mic executions became a thing. How would you execute the comic? Would you do it a variety of ways, or would there be one go-to method? Hanging, or drawing, or a gunshot?
Yeah, just fuck with them.
Sharpened large hook.
Yeah, large. No, stoned to death. Because
Stoned to death. Yeah.
Stoned to death.
Just
Yeah.
give the audience members stones.
Yeah, instead of tomatoes, it's just like quartz crystals. you know?
Yeah. Jagged rocks.
Yeah. So anyway, they said never forget. Am I right? Boo.
So funny. That would be like passing them out, and you buy a beer and like, did you get your stone?
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be like a AAA baseball game. You know how they have giveaways. You know.
Yeah.
Come to the comedy showcase every Thursday's Murder Crystal Night. You know. Fucking.
They should at this point. There's too many comedians.
It's too many of us.
There are too many of us.
Yeah.
And if I gotta go, I gotta go. You know. But
Yeah. Everybody wants to do their hot take on the Special Olympics. We need a genocide.
Foolosophy podcast calls for open mic genocide.
Open mic genocide.
Where is that going to get us in the algorithm?
Yeah, fucking banned.
And
Oh,
all right. Well, it's not fun to be executed at an open mic after 5 minutes on a Monday.
but it is cool to be foolish.
Oh yeah.